Hello and welcome back finally to the hustle and bustle of Formula One. The F1 2023 World Championship is about to get underway. We cannot wait to get started. Last season saw the biggest raft of regulation changes in years, and we're excited to see more of that wheel-to-wheel racing. The big question is though, can anyone challenge the dominance of Max Verstappen and Red Bull? Well, all the teams have been working so hard to get ahead in the development race, looking not only at their own car, but those of their competitors. Thousands of engineers working hard back at the factory. We come to the racetrack and we focus on the 20 drivers at the pinnacle of motorsport. But it's important to remember this is very much a team game. And watching that technical battle unfold throughout the year will be fascinating as everyone looks to get to grips with these new regulations. Meanwhile, the F1 World Tour features all the classic highlights. Monaco, Silverstone, Singapore. Great to see all those iconic tracks back, but also a few surprises. Qatar is back after a year away, and the inaugural Las Vegas Grand Prix. The glitz and glamour of Vegas, flat out down the world-famous strip. I know all the drivers have been so excited about this one ever since it was announced. Okay, that is enough from me. Let's get cracking with the action.
We're back at Bahrain, and this time it's racing for real. A very warm welcome to you all tuning in today as the 2023 Formula One season is just moments away. Now, the points start counting and the stories start being wrote, and we already have an unexpected twist. As of all people, it was Mr. Saturday himself, George Russell, who scored the first pole position of the season ahead of both Ferraris, as the reigning champion Max Verstappen is down in fourth. While they are the positive signs for McLaren with both cars in the top 10, and a fantastic session for the new Konnersport team with Jackson 10th and rookie Devon Butler in 11th. Well, Aaron, how about that? Oh, I know, I've been hugely excited to cover this race since this morning. I do hate to put a damper on things, however, but realistically, Red Bull have been very strong in the long runs during the Friday practice, particularly for Verstappen, who we also know can fight through the field whenever he needs to. So, add the car advantage that Red Bull appear to have so far this season, and it does seem like a foregone conclusion, doesn't it? But, as the late great Maury Walker always said, anything can happen in Formula One, and it usually does. Also, as you touched on earlier, a huge congratulations to the Konnersport team for getting into Q3 at the first attempt, with Jackson 10th and Butler a very respectable 11th. But it was Oscar Piastri who was the top rookie of qualifying, starting in P8. Logan Sargent is starting at the very back. The most disappointing outings from yesterday were from the Haas and Alfa Romeo teams, who practically fill out the back 2-3 rows of the grid. So honestly, I think it would be a very brave man to bet against Verstappen in this one. But I think the bigger question is, what will the Konnersport team do in terms of team orders, as there's a big opportunity to score a double points finish this evening. So, of course, the last thing they need is to run into trouble, or worse, hit each other. We're not accusing either of them here, but we do all remember Austria 2019. To be fair though, Jackson is well known for giving opponents just enough space as an excellent team player. Butler, on the other hand, has appeared much more of a refined racer since then. Don't forget, he won the Indy 500 last year. But the car itself is still a very much unknown entity in race trim, so today we'll probably get a first idea of how fast that car truly is. And that's what makes this utterly fascinating. What a race to start the season. Most certainly. I think we'll let you get set up in the com box. So while he does that, we'll take you on the first circuit lap of the season. And it's on board Konnersport's lead driver, Aiden Jackson, with his lap in Q3 that put him in that 10th place. So after a long winter break in which we only just recovered from the madness at the end of the 2022 season, here we are, back again to do it all again for 2023, with the new technical and sporting regulations setting a decent standard for the years ahead. Now we get to write those years ahead, starting today. And for the 2023 Formula 1 season and the Bahrain Grand Prix, it's Aaron Henwood in the commentary box. Thank you, Chaos. Good morning, afternoon, or evening, or even maybe late night where you're watching from the world. We welcome you to the 2023 Formula 1 season, here for the start of it, which is, of course, the Bahrain Grand Prix. As the season opener, once again, there is some talk of maybe a year or two going back to Australia, but for now, we're more than happy to start anywhere because it means Formula 1 is back. We have a new team in the form of the Konnersport team who defied expectations, going from 10th and 11th on the grid today with rookie Devon Butler alongside Aiden Jackson. We also have Oscar Piastri, the second rookie, going from 8th at McLaren. The third, more unfortunately for Logan, Sargent, he starts from the back. But in a Williams car that is still improving, that's decent enough. And he will look to make it up in the race today. And we are just moments away from the start of the 2023 season here at the Bahrain International Circuit. 15 corners, 2 DRS zones. It is pretty much, well, 3 actually. No, it's 2, sorry. I thought there was one 13 into 14. I've always thought that was one, to be honest. I'm not sure why it wasn't. Let's go for the grid from the back. Logan Sargent, Nico Hulkenberg on the back row, as Haas and Williams, as we said, well, Haas and Alfa Romeo rather, the most disappointing outfits qualifying with Joe, Bottas, Magnussen and Joe behind Daniel Ricciardo. Alex Albon alongside the lead AlphaTauri of Yuki Tsunoda. Lance Stroll is 14th, followed by Esteban Ocon. Pierre Gasly, very decent P12, but Alpine probably should have been better. He's alongside Ocon. Into the top 10 we go with Aiden Jackson in the Konnersport car behind Fernando Alonso. Oscar Piastri, as we said, goes from 8th behind Perez. Lewis Hamilton 5th behind Lando Norris, as McLaren seem to have come back from a very shaky start. Max Verstappen's 4th alongside Charles Leclerc. The front row, well, it's certainly surprised Carlos Sainz and Mr. Saturday himself, George Russell. We certainly didn't see that coming going into the season. Max Verstappen came in as the overwhelming favourite, and it really seems that Red Bull might have a much better race car than a qualifying car, because in the long runs in practice, Max Verstappen and even Sergio Perez were virtually unbeatable and very, very comfortable in the long run pace. Red Bull could have a cakewalk today. Here's Aiden Jackson on the Konnersport car, the lead one that is. Alright Devon, pretty sure you don't need reminding, but we are free to race Aiden at the start, but please keep it clean out there. We want to come home with some points. Copy that, mate. That's good news. Konnersport saying they are free to race then. Okay, just to remind you that we are FTR with Devon at the start, but just be sure to keep it clean. We have a good chance of a double points finish here, mate. Devon's been told the same. Copy that. And I don't think, as we said earlier, we're not really accusing anyone here, but Konnersport very aware that they could get a double points finish out of this today, and they're also aware of what happened in 2019 in Formula 3 between Devon Butler and Aiden Jackson. So they are very much making it very clear, you're free to race, but please keep it clean. We want some points on the board to start off the season, because for Konnersport, we don't really know where they're going to be. This is going to be the first kind of instance of where they're going to be, but if they are going to be maybe around here for the most part, then they will take all the points they can get, probably very early on. The Redmond race is going to be very interesting. Of course, we know that Red Bull have a 10% loss to their overall wind tunnel time. And just to really touch on that, I think the way the wind tunnel time works, it's an ATR period of a few weeks to a month, every couple of months or so. You have to play F1 Manager to kind of get the full extent of it, but here's how I see it. There's a very much a certain point of the season where the teams will be allocated a set wind tunnel time based on their constructors' standings from last season. And Red Bull will obviously have less than probably all the teams, because they're at 10% cuts they've got to factor in. Konnersport will have the most, of course, as they are the brand new team. And a brand new entity as well. Certainly not the Audi prototype, as was expected. These guys are from the ground up, and they defied all expectations but it's races where you score the points. Let's start counting them. Here come the 5 red lights for the 2023 Formula 1 season of the Bahrain Grand Prix. And it's lights now, and away we go, go, for Formula 1 in 2023, and there's Carl Sainz. He went round Russell, looks like Russell got brought down. Where is Verstappen? There he is, and he's going to go right down the middle of the 3-1 into turn 1. Max Verstappen trying to fitting through a needle when he didn't get through. I think he did the 3-1 in turn 1 between the two with him, and Max Verstappen leads. Max Verstappen has took the lead already. Charles Leclerc is down into second. George Russell, the big loser, down there in P4. Looks like he got bogged down. There's Fernando Alonso reasserting kind of battles there with Lewis Hamilton. It's been a while since these two were close together on the racetrack, but the new and improved Aston Martin up to 5th already. Devon Butler is up to 7th. The rookie in the Konnersport car has also had a great start. Jackson is 9th. So it looks like the Konnersport car's got through turn 1, and that could be crucial now. We'll have to see what happens when it comes to team orders. But Devon Butler is now the lead rookie as well, because Oscar Piastri has fallen down to 13th. What happened to Piastri at the start? Looks like the big losers were Russell and Piastri then. McLaren going into the weekend looking very concerned with their practice at race pace. They were down towards the back in practice. And that was the Rowies that they had in pre-season testing. And Zach Brown commented that Piastri and Norris kind of outdrove the car a little bit in terms of overall race performance. And it also we could be seeing it now. Where is Norris though? Norris is P10, so he's still on for a point, but he's behind both Konnersports. Sergent Perez also lost out there in P8, but it's Max Verstappen who leads. And now probably the cakewalk can begin, because Red Bull have had a very strong car in race trim. That's Perez trying to make down the inside of Devon Butler for P7, the rookie in the Konnersport car, and he's going to try and hold it in around the inside. He does. Will Jackson try and take advantage and pass both of them? No, he won't. He doesn't have enough speed, and we don't have DRS until the end of his lap. Jackson tries to cut to the inside, but 3 wide. It's a turn 4, and Perez has won out. What does Jackson do? He hangs back. He hangs back from his teammate, doesn't want to make contact. This is a crucial time for Konnersport to maybe just to settle down a bit. They got both cars in the points. Devon Butler probably, as expected, losing out to the Red Bull, to be honest. I don't think they'll be too disheartened about that. We know how strong the Red Bull looks in the practice sessions in race trim. That's Lance Stroll going down the inside of Max Albon there into a rank. I think it's turn 7. And we continue on then. So Max Verstappen, an excellent start, a fantastic start, more so actually. Very much Michael Schumacher-esque with 1998 in that Japanese Grand Prix when he started at the back. It's George Russell that loses out on the soft tyres, just not able to get away. Getting very bogged down, but look at this. Max threading a needle between the two Ferraris. There's slight nudges on both sides. That Red Bull seems indestructible, and Max Verstappen takes full advantage there of the better exit and launches into the lead. What a start from Verstappen, vintage. And here's Devon Butler. He also got a great start as well. That's one of the McLarens bogging down. I think that was Piastri, and he actually got round. And Devon was going to thread the needle between the Aston Martin and Lando Norris. That's Alonso and Norris, by the way. And he couldn't quite make it stick against Alonso, but he did against Norris. Great exit there. And Devon Butler, the rookie, passing most people in front of him, including his teammate. So, Devon Butler, much against expectation, the lead Konnersport car in this race at the moment. What will Konnersport do? We'll have to find out. And that's Carl Sainz passing George Russell, I think. Or at least it's Leclerc, actually. My apologies. And Leclerc, he's falling down. He's down to 4th. I wonder if he's got a problem. It probably wouldn't be very usual, considering it's only lap 3 of this race. We can't have engine problems already, surely. But Leclerc does look slow.
Right, Aiden. Both cars in the points, P8 and P9. Perfectly executed. Going to leave it up to you two to sort it for the rest of the race, but just be mindful when attempting a pass. I think we'd be better off working together, actually. As long as he tows me with DRS, I should be able to pick it Norris pretty comfortably. Not a bad call, mate. Just be mindful of the dirty air and pick clean air where you can. Copy that?
That's very much nothing new from Aiden Jackson. His team playing instincts are already coming to the fore here.
Okay, race update, Devon. We've just heard that Aiden is not going to fight you. He's going to cover for you against Norris. The only requirement is you keep giving DRS to defend and you're free to chase those get ahead. Huh, interesting. Can't be that.
So Aiden Jackson already switching on his team blade brain. He knows how vital this could be. He's got a faster car by law of averages in the McLaren. There's that's Alonso passing Leclerc. I think Leclerc has an issue because that's Alonso now beating him. We know that the Aston Martin's much improved, but we don't know how good it actually is overall. And there's Lewis Hamilton. He's going to try down the inside. We're going to go 3 wide almost, 4 into turn 1. And it looks like Hamilton is going to win out and pass both of them. A brilliant move. Through goes Hamilton again. And that is into P4. Mercedes very much looking much improved today. Even with George Russell getting a bit bogged down at the start, he's actually made his way back up to 3rd now. He is battling with Sainz. Looks like Verstappen is going to get away. He's already built up to a 2-second lead ahead of him. As we said, we know how much better the Red Bull looks in race trim, and they're going to need it with less wind tunnel time over the course of the season than all the other teams, quite frankly, with that penalty. And I think it's going to be vital that Max has as many races like this as possible, because once everyone has kind of caught up initially, then it could start to really show itself later on. We're hearing that McLaren have big updates coming for, say, Silverstone. They've already got a kind of blueprint of what they need and what they want in both cases of that kind of statement. That was a very strange one, I know, but I think I know what it meant. Yeah, McLaren basically have a nice blueprint, we're hearing, from Zach Brown and Andrea Stella, the team principal now. We forgot to mention that in the pre-season testing, Andrea Stella has taken... Oh, and that's Bottas spinning in turn 11. And he's going to have to kind of... I don't know why he's going to the right there, because now he's going to have to reverse. Are we going to have a virtual safety car? I don't see any yellow flags around the circuit, that is. We obviously have yellow flags at turn 11 as Bottas is recovering. Looks like he has got round. And here we go with 3 wide again. This time it's Alonso, Perez and Leclerc. And Leclerc's got an issue at that Ferrari. There's no way that the Ferrari is that slow, really. He's lost out another 2 places. And now, look at this. Devon Butler can see a Ferrari. Well, here's Bottas. And this will be turn 11 where he's spun. And let's see, did just touch the curb, but he's got on the throttle too early there. It's probably much a little bit of ambition ahead of adhesion, as Martin Brundle would say, in turn 11 there. And he really should have spun the other way, to be honest. And you'll notice that the streaming site Kick is on their cars this year. So that'll be an interesting sponsor choice there. Obviously, kicking the uncovers in the streaming world. And here we are with Alonso's double move on Leclerc and Perez here. He's going to have DRS. Leclerc is a sitting duck at this very moment, because I think Perez is going to have DRS as well. But look at Alonso, absolute opportunistic. He may be in his 40s now, but Alonso can still race with the best of them. And he takes a double position there. The Aston Martin really is looking the part this season. Thank goodness, really, because last year was certainly a write-off for them. Now, is Devon Butler going to pass Charles Leclerc here? Konnersport really performing above their wildest dreams. They're going to be looking at passing maybe a Ferrari of all things. And look at this. Round the outside goes Devon Butler. This will be an interesting move. And he doesn't make it stick, unfortunately, but he does hang it round the outside, and he should have DRS. But Butler is going to blast past Leclerc sooner or later. Leclerc is going to try to retaliate. What is Jackson going to do? And Leclerc tried to go to the left, and there was Aiden Jackson. He couldn't move. And look at the teamwork. Good Lord. And Devon Butler covered by Aiden Jackson, and he was blocking any potential move Leclerc was looking at. To be fair, Leclerc is probably carrying an issue, so I don't think there was much he could have done anyway. And there's Perez passing Alonso. That's pretty much status quo, as it were. And actually, no. Yes, because Alonso had beaten both Leclerc and Perez on the previous lap. So that's pretty much is status quo for Red Bull. And it'll be interesting to see if Perez can get himself amongst the top 3 now. And he'll have a bit of a clear track ahead of him. He's about 3 seconds off Hamilton in the second Mercedes, being led by his teammate George Russell, but they're on different strategies. And here's the third rookie of 3, Logan Sargent. And we're going to look at this awesome teamwork for the Konnersport team here. I don't know whether it was intentional or choreographed or not, but I guess we'll see in this replay. Devon Butler having an absolutely stunning race, to be fair. He's battling with the Ferrari. Konnersport certainly didn't have this on their books this morning. And Devon Butler, sensational move, to be fair. He's still going to make it stick. And look at Jackson taking to the outside as well. And I don't think Leclerc saw him coming. And then you see the choreograph. Jackson blocking any potential move Leclerc had. He had every right to be there. He was much faster because Leclerc's carrying an issue. Unintentional teamwork from Konnersport, but they'll certainly take it. They're now running P7 and P8 with Butler leading the way. And yeah, here's Verstappen, and you will probably notice from that head bobbing that a little bit of porpoising is still a problem with these cars. It is going to be much better, we're hearing, than last year, but Baku could rear its ugly head again. That's a track that Konnersport say they could probably struggle with. They kind of have deficiencies in the aerodynamic department, although it hasn't really shown so far with both cars in the points. Norris is ahead of Piastri, so Piastri is making his way back forward after having a poor start, to be fair. As we said, he and Russell were the kind of losers at the start. Russell just had no revs going off the start, as you probably saw from Verstappen. And here's Charles Leclerc. I don't know if there's a problem with that Ferrari, but he's certainly struggling. And he can't even, get to within. Yeah, there is definitely a problem in that car. I think it sounds maybe a little bit rough, but it's still motoring forwards. I guess Ferrari will take that, but it's certainly not the start they were expecting. Charles Leclerc is falling away here. We know that, we remember, really, that Charles Leclerc had a very similar problem back in 2019 when he was leading the race, which wasn't the case this time. But it certainly put Leclerc now out of the points behind both McLarens. Daniel Ricciardo, the returnee at AlphaTauri, he's making his debut for the AlphaTauri side of the team. But of course he's driven for Toro Rosso before, back in 2012. So he's kind of back there now. Mostly through Red Bull brand loyalty, really. And now here's Pierre Gasly going down the inside of Charles Leclerc. And he's a sitting duck. He's really holding everyone up at the moment. And now we're going to move to the outside. Daniel Ricciardo's going to take a look at the stamp and send it characteristic down the outside. And unfortunately, that didn't work for Daniel Ricciardo. He kind of ran out of space. And I think he's probably... Oh, no, he wasn't losing out to Magnussen. That's Magnussen Ocon having a battle behind him. So, I'm not sure what happened there. We kind of froze up for a moment. I'm not really sure what happened there. Hopefully we got it back. I think we have. And, Magnussen passing Ocon. And there's this great little kind of midfield scrap. Poor Valtteri Bottas after that spin is running at the back by himself. And, Haas and Alfa Romeo looking like the very much disappointing outfits for Haas. That's even more unusual because they put all their eggs into a 2022 basket a couple of years ago. In 2021, having a bit of a write-off year. They were fairy tale winners with Aiden Jackson, of course. Max Verstappen at the front, having an absolute cakewalk of it. I think that's 5 seconds he's got now on car sides, and it looks like being another one of those for Max Verstappen, and Red Bull will certainly take that very early on. I can tell you that for free. But Haas and Alfa Romeo struggling again, it seems like. It took Alfa Romeo a number of races to get on the board in terms of points. And Haas actually scored from almost the word go. Kevin Magnussen got 1 point in Saudi Arabia last year. And that kick-started all their points. Unfortunately for Haas and Magnussen, he was the only one that scored points because Mick Schumacher didn't score any. After having a very below-par year by his standards. And even kind of throwing away a possible points position in Zandvoort by spinning. And, here's Charles Leclerc. He's certainly going to try and make a fight of it, but I don't think he can. I don't think he has the car to do it. Lance Stroll, we must mention, actually, we forgot to mention this earlier, Lance Stroll is actually battling against adversity here. He's had a number of injuries in the past few weeks. I think he's driving with a break in his wrist, I think. So it's a testament to his fortitude for Lance Stroll, but he's certainly feeling the effects of it early on in this race. And that won't do well for Aston Martin, but there is positives to take from this race for Aston Martin because Alonso is sixth. And he looks comfortably ahead of the Konnersport team behind him. He's 3 seconds clear of Butler in the lead Konnersport car, who's got his teammate Aiden Jackson for company. He'll probably have him for company the whole entire race. And as you can see, Jackson is having to pull out of the dirty air of his teammate to keep the car as cool as he can. He's got both McLarens bearing down on him. But McLaren certainly not at the races at the moment. 9th and 10th. I mean, to be fair, Piastri had a bit of a poor start. But Norris and Piastri now, you'd think they'd have the beating of the Konnersport team, but not so. That's probably mostly due to Jackson's valiant defending. But in any case, he's going to pull out of dirty air and get some clean air into the car. He's probably going to be doing this a lot. So they're free to race, they say. They're free to race, but are they? That's the real question. A lot of people saying that maybe Devon Butler will get preferential treatment because of the sponsor of the car. I don't think that'll be really so, and even if it is, I don't think Jackson will really take heed of that very much. We know how much of a valiant fighter Aiden Jackson is, but today he's playing the team game, and I think today, probably more than most days, is a good day to do it, because Konnersport want to get points on the board early, and speaking of that, I thought Butler had actually moved up a place, but it wasn't. I thought that was either Sainz or Leclerc, but it's actually Valtteri Bottas in the pits on lap 10 for the change of tyres. Of course, you've got to run 2 different types of dry weather compounds in a dry race, and Bottas is actually going to be making 2 stops then, because that's another set of soft tyres for Valtteri Bottas in the Alfa Romeo there. The final year of the Alfa Romeo sponsorship deal at Sauber, and they will be back as Sauber for 2024 and 2025 before Audi takes over operations, of course, in 2026. Max Verstappen absolutely loving life at the front. I think we're going to be seeing quite a lot of this over the course of 2023. All the racing is happening behind him, so it's not like Verstappen is going to walk away and the races will be dull. I think that's not going to be the case, because we've already had a stunning first 10 laps behind him. But as course of at the front, as for winning for races goes, we could see quite a lot of this order, especially early on. Like we said, maybe the second half of the season will be probably more of an interesting kind of storyline, because we know McLaren, as we said earlier, planning big updates by the time they get to Silverstone, which could be really shaking up the order. It'd be good to see McLaren back towards the front. We missed it there, although last year Lando Norris did with the USA Grand Prix, so they're certainly getting there. All we need now, or all for guys like me, all we need now is Williams back at the front, and it'll feel like the 1990s all over again. On board Lando Norris. Looking at both Konnersport cars then. Jackson just holding station behind him. His teammate Butler, that is. I think he lost a bit out there, and Jackson struggling with the handling of that car now. I think that dirty air is going to be affecting him. Lando Norris having a little look there, and Jackson starting to struggle a little bit, maybe. He's probably backing off a bit, to be honest. Trying to lessen the dirty air effect on that car. But look at how squirrely that Konnersport car is. Certainly, oversteer is a characteristic of the Konnersport car that Jackson's really struggling with. The car just twitches around. And that's something Red Bull have duly noted as well. Max Verstappen might be looking like a cakewalk at the front, but the car doesn't look on rails as such. It certainly seems uncharacteristically skittish at the back. And I think a lot of teams are probably struggling with this. So maybe oversteer is maybe a new issue that the teams are finding for this 2023 season. Aston Martin very much planted to the ground. I think I saw a yellow flag there. I'm not sure. But Alonso still looking at the rear wing of Perez. And kind of note here, it looks like Perez and Alonso are actually catching Hamilton a little bit in the Mercedes. So we could have maybe a scrap for about at least third. George has about 3 seconds, I think, on Hamilton. So George is actually making it work on the soft tyres now, despite his poor start. And I think we're going to be seeing this a lot. The Konnersport cars ahead of the McLarens. Probably not for the most part. But like we said, when we get to Silverstone, McLaren will be a much better car. That's the words of Andrea Stella anyway. And here is Charles Leclerc. He is absolutely sinking in that Ferrari. There is definitely a problem there. He's now down in P16 behind Tsunoda. So it's kind of gone largely unnoticed. It probably might be ringing the alarm bells at Maranello right now. But considering Sainz is fourth, or second rather, although he's 4 seconds out behind Verstappen, that's what I mean. It certainly there is a problem. It certainly signifies a problem in the other car at Ferrari at the moment. And would it be quite interesting if Zhou Guanyu was able to pass Leclerc here? Alfa Romeo and Ferrari certainly not rivals. It's more of an affiliation, I believe. But Ferrari is still... Alfa Romeo is pretty much the Ferrari B team in essence. Although not really. Their driver lineup doesn't really say that much. As George Russell runs a set of the medium tyres so he can go to the race now. He's fulfilled that 2 tyre dry compounds and a dry race requirement at the end of the next lap. So he will now get to go to the end of the race. Probably could go to the end of the race. So the tyre wear doesn't seem as harsh as we experienced last year. I think a lot of people experienced 2 stops last year. The tyre wear was very much a kind of issue. And what's ironic is we should probably keep an eye on the Konnersport cars because they are 6th and 7th right now. And I think they were 8th and 9th last season. Now, Aiden Jackson had to drive through the field last season after a spin on that one. And he did in vintage fashion. Hulkenberg was P8. But he was nursing engine problems towards the end. But Jackson wasn't really going to catch him anyway. He'd run out of time. And there's Jackson pulling out of the dirty air of his teammate again. And I wonder... I'm trying to figure out who's faster. I don't think... with one of the Konnersport team, I don't think one is really faster than the other. I think it's very even between the Konnersport pair. So Butler, Devon Butler, doing a very sterling job, to be fair. He's actually the lead rookie in this race in P6. We should probably point that out. Piastri P9 and Sargent actually ahead of his teammate, Alex Albon. That's interesting. Now, Alonso has DRS here. And, well, the Aston Martin, it definitely does look more the part this season, but you can't get anywhere near Perez. That's George Russell passing Gasly. Of course, George has just pitted for the medium tyres, so he makes easy work of Pierre Gasly for 10th place. And we've got more drivers coming in. We've got Hulkenberg, and we've got Charles Leclerc coming in. Now, is this to retire? The Ferrari? Most certainly not. It's a set of hard tyres. But Leclerc just seems nowhere in this race at the moment. And Logan Sargent's coming in for his first F1 pit stop. And we are hearing that the Konnersport cars should be pitting in a lap or so. So we'll get to a good idea of how their pit crew will work for the course of the season. Well, Valtteri Bottas is going to have to stop again. Because he hasn't run a second dry compound yet. But he's not even going to pass Logan Sargent. He's so far behind after the spin. What Valtteri Bottas needs right now is probably a safety car to bunch them back up. But Alfa Romeo just don't look like scoring any points today. Zhou Guanyu is down in 16th. And Max Verstappen is coming in. And it is pretty much going to be procession personified now. Although he has only got about a 5-second lead over Sainz, so he will lose it. Should Sainz and Hamilton not pit behind him. I don't think they have. In fact, they might have. Because I think I saw Ferrari pit crew there. There he is. So Carlos Sainz going onto the hard tyres. Through goes Perez. And here comes the Konnersport team with the McLarens behind them. In fact, I think one of them is just pulling to the pits. Now, where is Max Verstappen here? There he is. And the Konnersport cars are going to look at a Red Bull here. Butler is going to go round the outside. Max is just coming out of the pits. The teamwork for the Konnersport team puts Butler in 2nd and Jackson in 3rd. Now, it's a net P1 for Verstappen. And look at this. Well, Aiden Jackson, it's proving to be a bit of an inspired decision to stay behind his teammate right now because he's kind of pushing him along, really. And Butler is kind of doing the job as well, keeping him in the DRS zone. And, well, it's not really for a net position, but Konnersport will take that. The teamwork for these two has been quite stellar so far. We didn't expect that going into the year. We expected maybe a bit of fireworks. But let's be fair here. We do mention Austria 2019 a bit. But Devon has gone away and certainly become a more refined racer over the years. You don't win the Indy 500 well, you need a lot of luck to win it, but you also need to have supreme talent to win that. It's one of the most prestigious races of the year, and Butler has that on his CV. And I think he's proving why today. He's having a good race. And now, look at this. Verstappen and Aiden Jackson, the battle. We have waited for many years to see these two scrap on the racetrack, and now we're going to get some of it. This is going to be a peek into maybe F1's future in a couple of years' time. We say a couple of years. It could be 2025, really, because that could be when Aiden Jackson is in a Mercedes. It's not really set in stone yet, but don't forget that Hamilton and Russell are contracted at least until the end of 2024. Toto Wolff has stated we will see where we are by the end of that year when it comes to Aiden Jackson probably jumping into one of those cars. Certainly being ahead of his employees would certainly help that. I don't think he's going to finish ahead of them today because he has the pit, but he's holding up for Verstappen and Russell right now. And maybe this is to bring his teammate Devon Butler back into play, maybe. Although the Konnersport cars were a bit behind Alonso before they pitted, of course. Alonso's still running in P6, so he's yet to pit. And I'm assuming that Jackson will be in this time because Butler pitted the last one. I think he did anyway. He's down in P9, so he obviously pitted. We missed that completely. And in comes Jackson. Well, it's race one, and he's already got his team playing cap on. And Jackson, a lot of people thinking that maybe he will have to defer to Devon Butler a few more times before the season's out. Let's have a look at the stop. Looks very clean and very precise from the Konnersport team. Very renowned pit crew members, as they have come over from their grid counterparts. And that's Lando Norris, who is leading Devon Butler there. And Will Jackson sneaking up the inside of Piastri? He will. He's fighting out of the pits. That's P9. Aiden Jackson, that's probably a net position then. But Lando Norris has managed to jump the Konnersport team into 7th. So, ironically now, Konnersport running 8th and 9th. That's where Audi Prototype finished last year. Charles Leclerc signed a bit of a fight back perhaps around the inside of Pierre Gasly into turn 4, but he just doesn't have the drive coming out of it. And there's the AlphaTauris scrapping for P14. That's Riccardo and Tsunoda. Are they on different strategies? No. They're very much not. They're very much the same strategies, but Riccardo wants to assert his support in the AlphaTauris team. And we had then, beginning of lap 17, Max Verstappen just took out back the lead. But George Russell was a lot closer. So George Russell has actually jumped signs in the pits. Unless Russell has to pit now, which he won't because he pitted earlier. So George Russell, his early stop, has aided him into 2nd place. Max Verstappen sets the fastest lap of 1:34.5. And that's obviously on new tyres. So, and of course, this year we still have the bonus fastest lap bonus point. There are talk of maybe removing the fastest lap bonus point maybe in the next couple of years or so. Of course, we've got the brand new regulations coming in 2026. These regulations here won't be around for very long. Brand new cars and brand new kind of engine maps for 2026 coming in, of course. Albon has passed Ocon for P14. Fernando Alonso and Aston Martin right out of the box, right at the front. And that is encouraging because Aston Martin had a very disappointing year in 2022. And now Ocon and Albon are battling over P14. Albon just passed him earlier. And that Williams car certainly looks nippy, if not altogether outstanding at the moment, but they are getting there. And Sargent is not last, really, because Bottas probably had to pit it again at some point for another set of dry compound tyres to fulfill the requirement. Alfa Romeo and Haas just nowhere, really. Magnussen is P13 though, but Hulkenberg down in P20. Hulkenberg had to make an early stop on that 10 because he started on the soft tyres in the Haas. Really didn't pay dividends that much. And Jackson is falling back a little bit from his teammate Butler now. I wonder if that's just kind of Jackson giving himself some space to not overheat the car too much. He certainly seems intent on doing the teamwork today. He's got to hold off Piastri now for the rest of the race because Norris has jumped them. And will not Norris unlock some maybe early signs of pace in that McLaren? It's not been altogether completely awful for McLaren, but it certainly was below par in the practice sessions. They were down towards the back. The fact that Norris and Piastri put those McLarens in the top 10 was nothing short of a miracle, Zach Brown said, because in the practice sessions they were awful. Now, and maybe they were trying something, but today they've really much clawed it back. So McLaren are looking very decent, if not, well, it's pretty much where they were last year, isn't it? Really, I mean, Norris did win the US Grand Prix on merit, to be fair, but both championship contenders had pretty much mares of races, to be honest. Both of them had probably had contact. Verstappen certainly did, and Leclerc had contact twice. I think Verstappen probably did as well. So the championship leaders had a bit of a messy race, but Lando Norris still held off George Russell for the rest of the race to win it. So McLaren are becoming much more common winners over the course of the last 3 years now. Of course, with Norris in Styria and Riccardo in Brazil in 2020. I think 2021, sorry, and then in 22 it was Norris, and Norris had already finished second at Monaco before then. So McLaren really coming on strong over the last 3 years. We did say last season that these cars, these characteristics of these cars, really favour the McLarens and their chassis. It has always been their strongest asset when it comes to their car. They pretty much lack in other areas. Mostly aerodynamic deficiencies, maybe, because they have the Mercedes power unit, don't forget. But I think we have to say that the Mercedes power unit isn't really always dominant as it used to. The C-Spec power unit has definitely fallen off. To be fair, the C-Spec power unit came into last season when the Ferraris, pretty much the stars of the show, and then they kind of fell away a bit. But now it's the Red Bull branded Honda. Let's be honest, it's still Honda in the Red Bull. Really, I don't think we're gonna really call it much else, to be honest. Although they will be kind of powered by Ford in 2026. Now that reforms an old partnership. The Stewart 1999 in particular had the Ford engine. In fact, I think it had Ford engines from their debut in 1997. And even though it probably didn't look like the all-conquering partnership on paper, Stewart were definitely no slouches. And obviously Red Bull took over from the Jaguar team that had the Ford engines as well. And I think I saw a yellow flag there. Maybe not. I thought someone was slowing there. Well, here's Nico Hülkenberg back after about half a year away. He replaced Lara Carvalho in the Grid World Series and was duly replaced, well not duly, but he was replaced by Mika Häkkinen. It turned out to be an absolutely inspired decision in the end. Probably not something they would have wanted to make, but Hülkenberg had a lot of bad luck in that prototype Audi team last year. A plethora of good penalties, putting him towards the back, and he just got stuck in DRS trains for the most part. But still, Nico Hülkenberg is missing that elusive podium. I think someone just came out of the pits there. There's the AlphaTauris and Tsunoda and Ricciardo battling again. There's Stroll. He's called up to the back of them. And there's the other Haas, Kevin Magnussen in 13th. But yeah, Nico Hülkenberg back with Haas. It is supposed to be for at least about this year, maybe next year. He has an option of a further year if he wants to take it, apparently. He will get the call up to the Audi project in 2026 for sure. And that'll be the mainline Audi project. And very much following suit from the prototype Audi. And there is Hülkenberg again. And this time he's actually looking slow. And Nico Hülkenberg is back in F1 after a few months away. And he still experiences engine problems. When can this man catch a break? Nico Hülkenberg, probably one of the most unlucky men in Formula 1, has had a career that has been destined for such great things, and despite outperforming a lot of his machinery, they just haven't been up to giving the results that people want to see. We want to see Nico Hülkenberg eventually on the podium. It's not going to be today, and it doesn't look like that Haas is really going to get any into the points, but Nico Hülkenberg will be going no further in this race. He's out. with suspended car trouble, it seems. Now, Carlos Sainz, we've not really talked about the battle for second, because there's no battle for the lead right now, because Max Verstappen is having a cakewalk out there. But look at this. Carlos Sainz darting left and right to try and pass George Russell into turn 1. He's got the inside line. He's ahead of the corner. And Carlos Sainz takes P2. George Russell tries to hang it in at well, it's sort of turn 2. It's not really a corner. But in any case, now we go from turn 3 into turn 4. Sainz with DRS, but Russell holds it running around the inside. Can he hold it? Yes, he can. Sainz now they go into turn 5. And Sainz wins out eventually. Well, as we were saying earlier, the Ferrari, how we did it last year, came in as the engine of the season. And, really, they just fell off, to be honest. And I think it's a C-Spec Mark II from Ferrari, but certainly it's not proving very fortuitous at the moment. Sainz, certainly the highest Ferrari powered running car, we should say, in P2. And then we've got Leclerc in P11, Magnussen in P13, Zhou in P15, Bottas in P21, and Hulkenberg out of the race. So we've got 21 cars still running. Of course, we've got 22 this season with the new arrival of Konnersport. And Max Verstappen now has grown his lead up to 8 seconds as we approach the final laps of this race. Well, it's certainly been a fun one. Maybe not at the front, but that's just how good Max Verstappen is. So Verstappen leads with Sainz, both Mercedes, Perez. Norris is not really making any inroads on Perez. He's about 8 seconds behind him, I think that says. The Konnersport team still 8th and 9th ahead of Piastri. He's just not able to get anywhere near them at the moment. That's Perez passing Alonso for P5. Probably no surprises there. We were expecting Perez, really, to be running P2 by now, such as the advantage that Red Bull has in race trim, but only Verstappen, as you would probably expect, is truly making it work at the moment. And let's be fair, Perez was instrumental in Red Bull taking back the Constructors' Championship last season. It almost didn't happen because Ferrari had such an unassailable lead, almost an unassailable lead at one point. We say almost because, of course, Red Bull overturned them. Aiden Jackson is still drifting out of the dirty air, given out by his teammate. He's called back up to him now, but Jackson, he was about a couple of seconds back at one point. He's reeled him back in. So I think the Konnersport pair have been pretty even this race. So I think it is fair to say that I think now they will hold station until the end of this race, which will be vital for them. That's Alex Albon. He's caught up to Kevin Magnussen now, Alex Albon. Williams looking the part today. Certainly not on course for some points this early on, but certainly looks an improvement because they only scored 6 points last season. And like we said, it wasn't bad on the face of it. It may not look much on the face of it for Williams, but they had a very strong end to the year, as did McLaren. And like we said, if Williams are able to get back towards the front with Ferrari and, Ferrari really, because back in the 90s it was Williams, Ferrari and McLaren that were the front three for the most part. And now with Red Bull up there, and Aston Martin looking like they could be up there. Aiden Jackson is all over the track, trying to keep his car cool. I think at this point he might be slightly faster than Devon, but Konnersport appear to be holding station now. That's Zhou Guan Yu, who's at the side of the road. He's out of the race. And that is a kaput engine for the C-Spec Mark II Ferrari engine. So that doesn't bode well. And with Leclerc having problems today, and it's certainly not the start the Ferrari powered teams or Ferrari themselves would have wanted. They will get P2 with Sainz, but they won't catch this man. That's Verstappen. It's an absolute cakewalk for him. And, can't deny how good this boy is. He might have some controversy shrouded around him for 21, maybe in some cases his driving style, his manoeuvres maybe, but I don't think there's any denying the talent that Max Verstappen possesses. Certainly puts him, in my view, pretty on par with Michael Schumacher. To be honest, the clear similarities speak for themselves, and it's going to be another win for Max Verstappen, it seems like. And going into last season, they won Abu Dhabi. And there's talk, maybe, that Red Bull could maybe, because the season is so long, 23 races this season, with the additions of the Qatar and Vegas Grand Prix. Qatar was supposed to be a race run in 2021, but they pulled out late due to the effects and the pandemic. But certainly now, Qatar looks ready to host a race, and probably it's been some time coming, to be fair, even before 2021. But it's been predominantly a motorcycle track. Something that Aiden Jackson enjoys the MotoGP. Very much a Valentino Rossi. Jackson knows how to pick his racing legends, doesn't he? Michael Schumacher and Valentino Rossi, certainly it probably would be looked as glory hunting in some eyes of the world, but Aiden Jackson certainly isn't one of those. He picks his legends well, and he's definitely modeled a lot of his racing after both of them as well. It's really shown over the last couple of years. But today, he's a lonely P9. He's holding station behind his teammate today, Devon Butler. A lot of people saying that maybe we'll see a lot more of this, but I for one hope not. I think it'll only be if the Konnersports are together on the track, and Devon does seem faster that will happen. For Konnersport, team play is definitely going to be order of the day, because we've got an idea now how quick they are. They're certainly not going to be back markers, that's for sure, and that's good. That's good to see. It's good to see Konnersport both in the points here, because I think they've definitely proven that they're not going to be preliminary back markers this year. That's already a plus. I would probably put them in the realms that I put prototype Audi last year, about maybe 8th to 14th, maybe on average. They certainly haven't got the car of the front runners. That's for definite sure at the moment. We're seeing that because Norris is pulling away from Butler and Jackson, and of course the Aston Martin of Alonso is up there in P6. So, and look at that, Jackson covering for his teammate again, and he certainly played second fiddle to Butler today, but I don't think it's through any team orderings or what's in his contract, because there is a lot of talk about what is in this contract for Aiden Jackson. Now Butler is in this team, and considering Konnersport is predominantly run by Butler Global, and of course Davidoff Butler, the father of Devon rather, a lot of people feel that Jackson maybe had to play second field to Devon quite a lot this year. I hope not. And I don't, honestly, I think even if that was the case, I don't think Jackson would really mind too much. He's such a team player, and he showed it many times last season. Monza, who remembers that, when he let through Mika Hakkinen, he got him a podium, and then he let him through in Abu Dhabi, of course, for Mika to go and get that P7. So Jackson has already proven to be primarily a team player. You know, he very much is one. He let Schumacher through on a couple of occasions in 2021 as well. There was a time when he let through Mick a couple of times, didn't he? I think he did. It's just unfortunate, really, that most of those times the halves were confined to the back of the grid in 2021, but that was the way 2022 had a much better year, but not started well from them today. Well, Max Verstappen now is at turn 10, and he'll just ease the car in. We're on the final lap then, and Max Verstappen has, well, he's had a cakewalk. It's been vintage Max Verstappen all day. Nothing really troubled, but he had to work for it, didn't he? He started P4, he threaded the needle, he took an opportunistic move in the middle of turn 1, beating both Ferraris. Charles Leclerc may have had engine problems anyway, we don't really know. But, well, get used to this, because I think we could be seeing it quite a lot. Max Verstappen with a cakewalk win of 10 seconds ahead of Carlos Sainz out of the final corner. Get used to it, because we could be seeing this a lot. Max Verstappen wins the 2023 Bahrain Grand Prix, and it will not be the last. Devon Butler gets driver of the day, and I think that's duly deserved, to be fair, because he's done a stunning race. Sainz ahead of both Mercedes. There's Perez. We're still waiting for Konnersport to cross the line. We've lost them. There they are. And there's Piastri right on the back of Aiden Jackson. And will they lose P9 at the last here? Let's hope not. But Devon Butler will get P8. Yes, he will. And 2 of the 3 rookies will score, because Piastri will finish P10 for a point, because Charles Leclerc had problems all day.
That's P8 Dev and P9 for Aiden. Double points for Konnersport. I think it's fair to say that went very well. Certainly owe Aiden one after that. I guess so. Cheers. Let's go, boys. New year, new team, same Aiden Jackson. Another stunning drive from you, mate. That's double points for Konnersport. We appreciate it was difficult, but very, very well done. Thank you, Marc. Thanks, boys. Let's keep pushing.
A lot of people have picked this up over the course of last year. The synergy between Marc Priestley and Aiden Jackson. You saw another sign of it there. New year, new team, same Aiden Jackson after another great drive from him. And it probably wasn't in terms of position, but in terms of team play and covering for Butler, he did magnificently. But what will McLaren be thinking? Are they in trouble? They really didn't set the world alight so far in this race. But it wasn't all bad. Norris did get towards the front in the end, but they've probably got some ways to go. But they are waiting for Silverstone and those updates. Oscar Piastri does score a point for them though, and McLaren do get off the mark right from the off. But I think the team of the day, Konnersport, take double points with 8th and 9th. Ironically, that's where prototype Audi finished last season. We all know what happened from there on in. They became race winners by Baku, and then Aiden Jackson have a stunning end to the year. And will that be the case this time? We don't really know. But we hope for Devon Butler that he doesn't have the very much bad luck that Nico Hulkenberg had from here on out. We hope not. They probably won't be winners by Baku this time around. It is only round 4, and they're expecting big updates maybe coming in for the Spanish Grand Prix, we could be hearing. But that is a way to start. Charles Leclerc, 11th. Ferrari, despite having Sainz in 2nd, have work to do. And Leclerc starts the season with a big 0 on the points board. Ferrari with work to do under Fred Vasseur, new team principal. Max Verstappen with 26 points, the full 26 points, with the point for the fastest lap. It is as you were. The constructors, Red Bull, continue where they left off. A 9-point lead over Mercedes, who have hit a resurgence today. Ferrari, Aston Martin get points on the board ahead of McLaren. Konnersport, the new point scorers right from the off. But at the front, it's Max Verstappen, and it was never even in doubt. P4 to P1, another vintage Max performance with a stunning overtaking maneuver. But even with that, if that's just vintage Max, the team of the day is Konnersport, and Devon Butler, who had a great start of his own, beat his teammate and beat another bunch of cars. And even though Norris jumped them, Konnersport are the new point scorers. But get used to this scene, because there's going to be a lot of it. It's 2023 is underway, and if it goes like this, it's going to be a Max cakewalk. But we hope for races behind will be as decent as it was today. We'll see you in Saudi Arabia when Formula 1 returns.